They arrived in Alex's hometown on Friday afternoon before the wedding. The long journey had left them exhausted, but not enough to stop them from sharing a fulfilling night. On Saturday, they wandered around the city, with Alex insisting on showing Paola all the points of interest. By the end of the afternoon, they returned to the hotel, dressed to the nines, with Paola looking stunning in the very dress she had worn the first time they were together, and they went out for dinner. "That dress brings back memories," Alex remarked on the way. "I thought it would be a nice touch. I wore it on my first night with you, and I'm wearing it on the last." Alex smiled and gave her a tender kiss, and Paola nestled even closer in his arms in the back seat of the taxi taking them to their destination. Paola insisted on going to the best restaurant in town, and they ended up at the same restaurant where he had been with Marie that fateful night. It was here that Alex discovered that Paola's French was perfect. "My grandmother was French," she explained with a smile. They were already eating and chatting joyfully when Paola's expression, who facing the entrance, changed. "What is it?" Alex asked, intrigued. "You may not believe what I'm about to say, I've never had lesbian tendencies, but the woman entering now could convert me." Intrigued, Alex discreetly tried to look and noticed the couple entering the restaurant. He made a somewhat frustrated face. "What is it?" Paola asked. "Do you know her?" Alex took a deep breath. "It's Lisa." Paola stared at that perfect woman who seemed to glide through the restaurant on the arm of a man, with an almost untouchable demeanor. "This is Lisa," she tried to confirm, looking utterly astonished. Lisa and Fernando walked through the restaurant to the table reserved for them, guided by the waiter. Lisa noticed the persistent gaze of that woman in her direction, almost bothersome. She seemed extremely surprised. She glanced at the man accompanying her, who had his back to her, as they passed and stopped. She looked intently at the man with an astonished expression, brought her hands to her mouth, and exclaimed, "Alex." Fernando suddenly stopped and asked Lisa, "The Alex?" Lisa couldn't contain herself. "What are you doing here?" Alex replied, looking half burdened, half guilty, "Having dinner." Lisa came to her senses suddenly, looked at the woman who was still gazing at her in astonishment, and introduced herself. "I'm sorry. My name is Lisa, and this is my husband, Fernando." It was Alex who spoke. "This is Paola, a friend." After the introductions, Lisa continued, "Sorry, but it was truly a surprise to see you here. Did you come for the wedding?" "Of course. I wouldn't forgive myself if I didn't come. Sorry for the intrusion. We're going to our table now. It was nice to see you, Alex, and nice to meet you, Paola." And they moved on. Fernando, who had remained silent, murmured something to Lisa, who answered. They stopped, and Fernando turned back. "Alex, I apologize once again, could we talk?" Alex knew that this was probably one of the problems he had left behind that would have to be resolved. "Of course. Whenever you want. What if we joined you?" "Unless it's inconvenient." Having told Paola all the details of that night in exquisite detail, Alex simply looked at her with a silent question, and when she nodded, he finally replied, "It's a pleasure." Fernando spoke with a waiter, and a table was immediately set up beside them, with Lisa sitting next to Alex and Fernando next to Paola. The newly arrived couple placed their orders, and it was Alex who initiated the conversation. "First of all, Lisa, I need to apologize for that night. I wasn't myself, and you didn't deserve to be treated as I treated you." Lisa simply smiled, and it was Fernando who spoke. "Do you know why I wanted to talk to you?" Alex looked at him, unsure of what was coming, trying to prepare for what he thought he deserved to hear. "Because I didn't know if I'd get another chance to thank you." Alex was expecting everything, but not this. It was Lisa who spoke. "Can we speak openly?" Everyone nodded. "Alex, you know that I only realized you had no idea what you were involved in until it was too late." "Yes, I know. Marie knew you would be furious, but she never thought you would just disappear. The next afternoon, I tried to call her, but when I couldn't reach her, considering the state I knew you were in, I began to worry that something catastrophic had happened. When I arrived at your house, I found Marie almost catatonic. I asked Fernando for help. We managed to calm her down enough for her to tell us what had happened. It was Fernando who continued. You know, they genuinely had no idea why your reaction was so violent. This led to a conversation that surprised both of them. And one of the outcomes of that conversation is what we have to thank you for. I know it was the end of the world to you, but for me and Lisa, it deepened our relationship in a way that might never have been possible otherwise. And we will always be grateful to both of you for that. Alex looked at them, astonished. And we wanted to tell you this in person since I don't know if we'll ever see each other again with time for a conversation. Alex finally smiled. I'll be around. We'll have time. But thank you. The rest of the meal, after the elephant was taken off the table, went well, with the quartet eventually going out to a bar with live music where they stayed and danced until the end of the night. Lisa and Fernando left Alex and Paola at the hotel. Finally nestled in each other's arms, Paola captivated Alex's gaze with those sparkling eyes and a smile that held a hint of sadness behind it. It's our last night, she said. Alex nodded with a sad look. Tonight. I want you to love me, she said with an utterly serious expression. And Alex took her, diving into her, and she into him, and that night they surrendered completely.